Hey y'all, welcome to another episode of State of the Build here on the Peak Auto YouTube channel. I'm Emily Reeves, your host of this awesome series, and today we've got a fun one. We've got our buddy Craig from the Craig 909. His YouTube channel's great. He's a Ford guy and he's got a really beautiful F100. Beautiful if you like patinas. Me personally, I think it's an awesome truck. And he's building a Galaxie as well, and that is what we are going to get an update on today. So I'm excited to shoot him a text. Let's get with it. Good morning, Craig. What's up, dude? Thanks so much for taking the time to toss some videos back and forth with me for this series. I'm excited to have you here. We are going to talk about the Galaxie, right? I've been seeing you do some body work on her. Tell me the story of this car and what significance it has to you. How long have you had it? Where'd you get it? Why do you love it? Lay it on us.
Hey Emily, thanks for having me. I appreciate it. So starting off with the Galaxie, I guess. Long time project, or at least long time for me. It's been around 2 years I've been dealing with these cars. And I say dealing with lightly, so I guess I'll flip the camera around and I'll show you guys what I mean. So the Galaxie started back in, I think, February 2019 is when I picked this car up. It was one of those things where I had not enough projects and too much money in my pocket, which is a weird thing. I don't know what that's like, and I haven't had that in years. But so we were sitting in my buddy's garage and we found this car. I was looking for another project, something to spice things up, because I just had my truck and I think maybe one other truck at the time, and I was getting rid of it at the time. So I was cycling projects. So looking around different OfferUp, Craigslist, Facebook, whatnot. I ended up finding this car on LetGo when LetGo was still a thing. Of all places. It was only there. It was like listed for like $2,000. It looked pretty complete. It was a cool looking car. It was 2-door fastback, something different that I haven't seen before. It wasn't like a Mustang or maybe a Camaro or some things that I've seen before. This car I haven't really seen before at car shows or online even. So it was one of those things where I was like, I want to be different here with this car, and I said screw it. So basically my buddy was like, you should buy it, and I said bet, and then 2 years later it's sitting here. But we ended up going down to the beach and dragging this thing out of a guy's backyard. It was sitting in, like, tucked way back over in Oceanside, California, like right on the water by the beach, and dragged this out of this like super overgrown backyard. Really kind of a cool scene getting it out. There's a whole video series on that, which was really cool, putting it on a trailer and whatnot. But yeah, pulled this car out, and basically everything that this car has done to me in the last 2 years is the reason that I like it so much. I've always loved the body lines and the look and the aesthetic of this car, but I think what it really is the just challenges that the car has put me through. It forced me to pull my first motor. It forced me to cut my quarter panels off, do floor pans, roof. I've never done a roof on a car. I did pretty much all the drip rail patch panels on the roof. I did 2 full quarter panels in this car. This is an over 8 foot long quarter panel. I did by myself. I had a couple friends just help me get it on because it's such a big panel, and then I basically clamped it up and did everything else myself. Did outer wheel houses on this car. I mean, the amount of sheet metal that I have in both of my cars, there's 2 of them, hundreds and hundreds of hours of just me, because I've basically gotten to where I am with these 2 cars by myself. So don't look at this one too much in terms of work, but I've done all the work on this car pretty much, one-man band, kind of going through it all. I have some friends here and there, but I like the car, the challenges it's brought. It's really taught me a lot. Hopefully soon I'll have the cars driving around and then I can really enjoy them, but just the aesthetic and the jet taillights and the afterburners and the space race kind of era, really like the car. It's kind of what spoke to me when I bought it. So yeah, I bought this car, ended up tearing into it. The motor ended up being pretty much junk, and just kept tearing it apart more and more as I found more things wrong with it. And then I ended up buying this one as a parts car because this one had a bad engine. So I bought this one for the engine out of it, and ended up getting a Coyote motor, so I no longer needed it. So now, fast forward, a year, my parts car ended up turning into a full resto mod build while I'm doing this one. So this one's just kind of waiting patiently. So building 2 Galaxies at once, not really something I recommend doing. But yeah, so we are doing a bunch of metal work to this car. I've done quarter panels, as you could probably might have picked up. That car has brand new auto metal direct panels on it in the back. You can see over here on the quarter panel. So I did a bunch of metal work to this car, and then transitioned all of the old panels and re-metal worked them to go on to this car. So that's where you see the red on this. This car has a new taillight panel, which you can see right here, a new trunk. I did the quarter panel. It's tubbed. It's got 5-inch tubs in it that I put in. I went ahead and put pans in this car, floor pans. Around the roof I've done a bunch of work too. On this side, on the other side of the car, you can kind of see it right there. Did a whole roof basically on it. Drip rail area was pretty much gone. So I've done a lot of work to that there. So that was all re-metal worked. You can barely see where it was all welded. So that was completely gone on both cars. It's now been, you know, redone. But yeah, this car has turned into quite a project. You can see underneath here, we just got done doing pretty much everything in the front end. So the whole front end's new. The sway bar is just waiting to go in. A couple other pieces. It has a new big block motor. This was why I bought the car. It's because I was going to take that big block and repurpose it for my red car. And you know how projects just spiral over and over again. But yeah, so got a bunch of body work we're doing to it. And now I ended up with 2 Galaxies. I figured, you know, I might as well, instead of trashing one car, build both of them, and they can both live on and enjoy life, and I can enjoy this one, and maybe I'll part with this one day and somebody can enjoy it. So yeah.
I love the fact that you're building your parts car. In fact, all of your attention is directed to your parts car. I love that. So you're going to rescue not 1 but 2 old iron that has so much character. I love that. That's really, really awesome. So you mentioned you have a Coyote. That's going to be pretty gnarly. Which transmission are you going with? And are we doing a bunch of crazy suspension work on her?
Yeah, it's one of those things where I consider myself a little stubborn. I kind of basically tore into the car and found so much body filler that I could put a whole pry bar through the quarter panel, and I was like not willing to accept the fact I was going to actually lose money on the car for the first time, or a car, because I think up to this point I had like 12 vehicles, so, and I'd never lost money on a single one, so I was like, I'm not losing money on this car. So I was like, all right, I'll just fix it up real quick. I'll just, you know, scuff it and paint it real quick and get it going. I was doing body work and pulled fiberglass and body filler and all sorts of nastiness out of the quarter panel and sides of this car, and I was just like, you know what? Because I'm on the internet and everyone sees it, if they see me tear it apart and see the holes in this thing, and then magically it's just fixed, everyone's gonna assume I just put body filler in it, which obviously I would if I was just gonna turn and burn it and get rid of it. But I just, personally, I couldn't bring myself to do that. So that's why we ended up kind of going this route. Is it was one of those things where I was like, oh, I'm on YouTube, everyone's watching me now, and everyone sees how bad it is. So if they see me selling it, they're gonna know it's bad. So I just didn't want that pedigree on me. I didn't want that pedigree on the car. I know I'm better than that, so that's kind of why we went this route. Not something I'll do again. One of those things that basically if I find a car in that condition, I'm gonna disclose that and share it and basically suck it up, take the loss, get rid of it. But yeah, so that's why the parts car got built. Parts car has more money than the actual car right now. But yes, I do have a Coyote. It's hiding in the garage right now, all tucked away, and we're ready, waiting for it. It's a Gen 1 2011 truck motor, and that is for this car right here. And we'll end up running a T56 Magnum. We're teaming up with American Powertrain and Tremec, and I think it's on a freight truck right now currently. Last week we were talking to them. I talked with them at SEMA, kind of finalized all the details with it. So it'll be this Galaxie Gen 1 Coyote, T56 Magnum, American Powertrain supply install kit, and then that'll pretty much be the basic drivetrain. And then I think we'll possibly work with Precision Turbo later on down the road once we get the car driving. All the bugs worked out, we'll probably do a twin turbo kit on the car, and then do full suspension. So the reason I actually pulled all of the shiny goodies that are on this car, the whole front end, disc brakes and coilovers, all of this car came off of mine. So I had it all on this car. I just changed it like 2 days ago. Everyone was all confused on why I was pulling everything apart. So we're either going to be running a full tubular, rack and steering K-member style deal with this car, or there's a small slight chance that I might be able to get a Ford a roadster shop chassis. So that's kind of one of those things where if it works out, great. If not, we'll go a different route. But basically the stuff I had in it, we're going to go a little bit better than that. It's kind of one of those things where the project keeps escalating. So the Coyote and the power level will push. So it's like one of those things where it definitely needs to be upgraded, or it will eventually. So we might as well just do it now. So hopefully roadster shop chassis. If not, something crazy of that standard.
Okay, so the Coyote, I always forget how to pronounce that properly. The Coyote motor is for the original car, not the parts car turned primary build. I guess they're both primary builds, really. I mean, if you're kind of bouncing between the two, it sounds like they're both kind of going to be that pro touring, super badass handling, and probably high powered. You're over your head in all this, doing a one-man show and everything. And yes, I totally agree. Putting yourself out there on the internet really is a very good way to keep you honest and force you to be the person you want to be in the shop, showing your mistakes, showing the real life stuff, and not glazing it over and making it look better than it actually is, because it's like, it's reality, and it's good to share it. People like it when you share reality. I guess my answer or my question is, which one's going to be finished first?
Yeah, and over my head's probably definitely an understatement for sure. This car is definitely the one that made it such a pain, because it's always just a problem and another problem and another problem. So finally I know every square inch of this car, inside the outer wheelhouse and places you should never have to go in a normal car project. So yeah, but this car is basically going to be like a cruiser. So this has a brand new fresh 360 FE in it, 40 over. It's got a fresh top end I had to put in it, because when I bought it, it had 4 different size lifters in it and a flat cam and 0 compression in 3 cylinders. That was great. So I had a busted motor in this car when I bought it. Bought this for the engine, and this motor was busted too. So that's why I ended up with a Coyote. I just didn't want to bother. So I fixed the engine in this car. And it's just a cruiser. It's a stock motor, nothing too crazy. Just a stock automatic transmission and a 9-inch in the back. It'll be a pretty cruiser. Something you would take on the one, cruise with the family, take to a car show. Just a good looking car, something with a nice stance, good suspension, decent brakes, something nice that you would look at, kind of eye candy almost, like a Hot Wheels style build. So yeah, it'll be a nice show car, I would like to say. It'll definitely be done first. This is a car that's got most of the stuff in it. The driveline and everything is in it. It just needs to be wired and plumbed. And that box right there is the fuel tank, brand new fuel tank we're going to put in it. And then we'll basically plumb it all up, and it should fire right up. The motor ran great when I pulled it over here, and then I ended up doing all the metal work to it. But yeah, so this car will definitely get done first, and then we'll go ahead and we'll transition to this car. We have all the parts for this one to make this kind of the big, crazy, high horsepower YouTube project that everybody wants to see, something crazy and out of the box. Whereas this one we're just kind of going to put together with more basic, realistic things that your everyday person would put together, this kind of a car, and drive it and enjoy it. So this is just going to be like a one-off, crazy, break my bank kind of project.
Only somebody who truly has the sickness can say break my bank while smiling and laughing about it. I love that you're showing the diversity of the same car being built 2 very different ways. That's really, really cool. I'm sure that the YouTube subscribership appreciates the versatility there that you can have when building something and doing it on your own, not having a shop, waiting a year for a shop to build it and spending money on labor. You're investing that time yourself, and then you have a huge relationship built with that car. I know that's how we feel about all of our junk, is we love it so much because of all of the time and love we've put into it. That's really cool, dude. Well, I hope that everyone that watches this episode is already subscribed to your channel and is familiar with those cars. But hey, if you're watching this episode and you're not subscribed, be sure to jump over and watch the past episodes on these cars and his F100, and look forward to the future of both of these builds and seeing them come together. You're doing an awesome job, Craig. Thank you so much for taking the time to chat with me today about the cars. It was awesome. Thanks, bud.
And a sickness it is. It's one of those things I can't help but look at the cars and smile after all the money I put into it, and at least see progress. It makes you feel good about something you built and put together. But yeah, massive thank you, Emily. I appreciate you having me on. This has been a cool experience. Thank you to all the people at Peak Auto and the audience watching all the way through the video. Showing the interest really does mean a lot to me. If you want to see more on the cars, consider subscribing. We got the Galaxies, my 71 F100. I might have spun a bearing in that motor, turned almost 7,000 RPM in the Canyon, which you can see all that stuff on my channel as well. And then I got a Fox body and a Lincoln Town Car that's lifted on 31s and all sorts of cool stuff like that. So we're always doing something fun. But yeah, massive thank you to you guys, and I can't wait to hopefully get out to see all Emily's stuff one of these times. And never know, maybe I can bring a car out there, we can do some drag racing, you can show me how it's done.
I hope y'all enjoyed this episode like I did. I think Craig's doing an awesome job, and I really appreciate the versatility in those 2 cars. I look forward to reading the comments and hearing what you guys like about his builds, and also who you would like to see next on an episode. Thank y'all so much for everything. As we close out 2021, I want to say a huge thanks to you guys. We've made it to 20,000 subscribers, which is really, really cool on the Peak channel, and really grateful for y'all being here and watching all of these episodes and contributing your likes and your subscribership and your comments. And we'll see y'all on the next episode.